Hey y'all, Techie Veggie here, and I'm here to talk about how Google Allo did not fail. Now you may be wondering how I could say such a thing when Google doesn't offer Allo anymore, people are barely using it. However, I'm going to talk today about Google's messaging strategy and how I think Allo played a part in the larger role of Google's messaging ecosystem. So back in 2016, Google was very excited about Google Allo. They acquired it from another company and they were talking about it during Google I/O, and they were looking to add a lot of innovative features to messaging to really improve the messaging experience on the Android platform and beyond, since it was cross-platform. So they were looking at adding things like Google Assistant baked right into the chat, so you could, call up Assistant if someone had a question about something, or you're planning a trip out, you're looking for things to do. You're able to, do a query right with Google Assistant in the chat and pull it up so everyone could participate with it. You also had things like whisper and shout, so you had a more emotion showing with your messages. That was a very handy feature as well, because you could really get the intonation of your messages across a lot better than just a standard text message. Smart replies being baked in. So there were a lot of things that Google had with Allo that were very promising. However, the traction just was not being built up within the Allo ecosystem. And at the end of the day, if you don't have users, you don't have a viable messaging platform. So Google was pretty much forced to, axe Allo, and people who were passionate users of Allo, like myself, we were upset about it. But if we didn't have enough people to talk to and more people are not coming on board, it kind of defeats the purpose of keeping the messaging platform around. But with that, I did notice a couple things in the Android messaging ecosystem that kind of raised an eyebrow here or there, and I think is a prime example of why Google Allo did not fail at the end of the day. So to properly talk about Google's messaging strategy, we have to take another trip back in time from present day. Now this time to 2017. So with Android, you have the stock messenger that comes in your phone, unless the manufacturer of that phone happens to switch it out for one that they built themselves. And Google Messages, was your standard SMS client, so you can send text messages back and forth, but nothing too elaborate. However, in 2017, Google rebranded it to Android Messages, and with that, they announced that it was going to support RCS, or Rich Communication Service. Now, that is a big deal because people hate SMS. And a lot of you watching the video might not know what SMS is, but you do know you dislike it. Now, if you are an iPhone user, or you heard an iPhone user talking about iMessages and how they hate those green bubbles, that's because that's SMS. All right, SMS is the old format for sending text messages that, dates all the way back to your T9 texting on those Nokia bricks and your flip phones of the past. It's made for just sending short messages, and that's it. And things have been bolted onto SMS over the years as phones became more capable. They added MMS, which is multimedia messaging services. So that's where your picture mail comes through on your phones. But if you ever tried to send a picture, especially a video, through text message, you know how terrible the experience that is. Pictures, sometimes you might get away with it looking okay, but it's definitely not the same quality as an original. However, video is horrible. They can't be too long, and when you do send them, it's just a pixelated mess. And that is because the protocol that these systems use is very old, and it's not built for the modern smartphone age where we have cameras taking large pictures, taking high quality videos, and people wanting to send messages that are longer than, 140 characters. So with that, Google announced that they are supporting RCS, which is a new standard which gives you a lot of features that are not present in SMS because it's built for this modern age of communication. It's what's called an IP-based messenger. So instead of going through the normal phone, I guess you could say phone line for the lack of a better word, like SMS and MMS does, it's data-based, it's IP-based. So it works the same as iMessenger or WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, where it's using the internet to send the message versus using that antiquated system that SMS and MMS use. But we have to take a look a little bit further back to 2015, because that's when Google acquired a company called Jibe Mobile. And Jibe Mobile was a pioneer in building this RCS protocol. So as you can see, even before Google acquired Allo, they were already working on the future of messaging with this RCS protocol. And the important thing with RCS is not only is it cross-platform where it could work on Android or iPhone, but in a perfect world, it would actually be supported by the carriers because it's part of the GSM standard. So globally, all the carriers would be supporting this standard. So no matter what carrier you use, no matter what phone you use, everybody has this higher quality messaging. So you get your things like your read receipts, you get higher quality video, higher quality voice notes, pictures coming through. You don't have to worry about character limitations as well. Easier group chats, you don't have to worry about things coming out of order or someone getting messages that drop off. So it's an enhanced experience for everyone that gives you a lot of those core features that people are looking for in messengers that cause them to use things like iMessage or WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, or Signal, Telegram, whatever, messenger you like to use. Now, the other benefit to RCS is because it's supposed to be a system that, is backed by the carriers. You don't have to worry about what phone you're using or anything like that. You don't have to convince your friends to switch over to a new messenger. Everybody has that moment where they have that preferred messenger they're trying to get everyone to use, and they're trying to get their friends to move over to WhatsApp, or they're trying to talk to everyone on Facebook Messenger or whatever it happens to be. When really it could just be simpler if you could just pick up your phone, open up the message app that's right there, and boom, just start talking to people. However, because people hate SMS, that's why we're hopping over to all these different messengers. You have 8 different messengers to talk to the same people because everyone has their different preference of what messenger they want to use, when we can't just use the one that's on our phone and have that satisfactory experience. RCS aims to fix all of that. So it's the same as what people like about iPhones and iMessage, right? In that one messenger, whether it's an iMessage or a text message coming through, you're getting all of your communication in that one place, and it just makes everybody's life easier and more convenient because you don't have to hop back and forth between messengers in order to get that high quality messaging experience that you not only want, but honestly you deserve at this point. It is 2019 now. So now that brings us to this week, June 17th, where Google announced that they were going to completely remove the carriers from the equation when it comes to getting RCS rolled out. And they were going to support RCS basically through the app, so that way you didn't have to worry about the carrier support or if they're supporting the same standards and all the other nonsense that's been going on with the RCS rollout. With Google taking the lead in RCS, trying to get the carriers on board proved to be rather difficult because at the end of the day, the carriers are doing what's best for their profit margins. And if SMS isn't a pain point that people are coming directly to them and complaining about, and it's not something that's going to make people switch carriers, they're going to drag their feet on it. They're not going to spend the money that's necessary to upgrade their messaging solution. So Google, tried to wait it out and work with the carriers to build that solution that everyone's looking for, and honestly we deserve now in the year 2019. And they decided, hey, we're just going to do it ourselves. We'll set up the servers so we got the messages go through and deliver that high quality messaging experience to everyone. And then on the privacy end, because it is going through their servers, once the message is delivered, they delete it, so you don't have to worry about Google like combing through your private messages or anything like that. So they did address that very obvious privacy concern, especially being that it is Google and they have so much data on everyone. The only thing they do hold on to a little bit longer are any multimedia messages you're sending to people, so pictures, videos, just to make sure that people have got the opportunity to download the message before they delete it from their servers. So now, after going through that brings me back to my original point at the beginning of the video, which is why Google Allo actually did not fail. Because if you take a look at Android Messages, which is the app that RCS is going to be delivered through to everyone's phones, and you look at the updates that they've made recently, you can see a lot of Allo influence in there. Smart replies have come to messages. They're looking at including Google Assistant in Messenger as well. So with that, they're processing it on the phone. So it's not like the messages have to go through their servers to ping Google Assistant, get the query, and then come back. Your messages are staying private because everything's being processed on the device itself, and it's coming up with like smart reply cards basically through Assistant. That's also really important because if you look at this past Google I/O, you'll see that they were showing off Google Assistant being processed on the device itself versus having to ping the cloud to get the answer and then bring it back down to the phone. So Google's clearly looking at, processing more information on device for a lot of those simple queries and actions that people go through with their voice assistant, and having that baked into messages and being able to take advantage of Google Assistant in that way is definitely very handy as well, and also a clear influence from Allo. So between those two things, you see like two of the meatiest things from Google Allo coming over. So that helps, ease the transition a little bit, going into RCS and going into messages as your default client if you were a heavy Allo user. Hopefully some more of those features start to make their way through that they can do on a universal platform like RCS. I don't expect to see things like, shout and whisper, or some of the animated stickers that they had going with the smart emojis where you can make them big and then all of a sudden became animated emojis. I don't expect to see things like that come over, but I think some of the basic features of Allo that made it a smart messaging client, a lot more of an intelligent client than standard SMS, are coming over to messages. And that does make me smile because it's like I have that little piece of Allo with me. And I think that when Google acquired Allo, they mainly acquired it to get knowledge on how people like to message so that they can make Messenger a better app once RCS was rolling out. So that's why I think that Google acquired Allo, and I think that Allo is more of a testing ground for them than anything else. So that's why I think they didn't really hesitate to drop Allo once, people weren't really gravitating towards it, and why they didn't hesitate to move some of those resources from Allo over to messages to deliver a great messaging experience to everyone through RCS, through Android Messenger. So that's it for this week. Hopefully you like this video. It's a little bit different than the videos I had there, but I am a pretty opinionated person at times, and I wanted to share that opinion with you. Tell me if you like this style of video too. If you do, drop a comment below. Let me know if there's some other tech topics you would like me to take a deep dive in like this and kind of walk through what my feelings are on it and why I think things shook out the way they did. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. Of course, subscribe so that way you don't miss any other videos. And until next time, Techie Reggie out.